Good morning, everyone. You all know that we've been doing some interesting webinars for our clients for the last, 6 odd months. But today we have something very special and unique for our sales staff, right? We have amongst us today two brilliant speakers. Both, I'm sure, have not visited India. And one of them, for sure, I know who has a much deeper connection even without visiting the country. So let me first take you to, the first speaker of the day. Uh, at the age of 24, when a recent college graduate becomes the CEO of her father's company and makes, the whole empire, uh, the momentum of the sales and the training programs which she's been doing completely in a different hemisphere and hasn't looked back since then, right? Amanda Holmes, the CEO of Chet Holmes International, has a very inspiring story for all of us to look forward to. After the legendary Chet Holmes' death, she inherited the entire business, like I was sharing, which she has never really been a part of. So initially, the only thing she did was listen and ask some great questions. With the hard work and her pig-headed discipline, she managed to double the business 2 years in a row. Under her leadership, they have now assisted over 200,000 businesses worldwide. The firm's youngest employee, by a 20-year margin, she took the business world by storm when she increased conversions 1100%, increased leads generated 1176%, and doubled the company's coaching clients 2 years in a row. So please join me all in welcoming Amanda.
Thank you so much, Virendra. That's such a lovely introduction, and I'm really thrilled to be here today with all of you. I was beside myself to hear from Hardik and Atif and everyone about your own pig-headed discipline and determination to fulfill what my father put into those beautiful words. So without further ado, let's really dive in here into the three strategies to double sales. I will be introducing Ted shortly. So in the next 60 minutes, you're going to learn the single most important strategy for doubling sales. You all might even be able to guess what that is, having that background and information, but we're going to dive deeper. We're going to answer your questions. So we are live, right? So make sure that you write in that chat box. Make sure that you put away your phone. Make sure that you are present and interacting, because the more that you interact, the more you write notes, the more you retain, the more you'll be able to actually implement. And that's what we want to see from this next 60 minutes. You walk away with strategies, tactics that you can use immediately to be getting more business. And these are all tried and true, tested, right? We actually have had over 240,000 businesses worldwide. So they work. So first, we'll go through this session. You'll agree that these are strategies that are timeless and true and could definitely double your income over the next 6 to 12 months. And then you'll go home and you won't do it. Now, this is my reverse psychology portion. I'm saying it to challenge you to say, please overcome that hurdle and make sure that you commit. If you're ready to commit to actually implementing, even just give me one yes in the questions box, the yes, I will commit to implementing at least one thing from this strategy from this next 60 minutes. Can I get a yes? Do we have any yeses? Are people writing yeses in the questions box? Okay, yeah, I see a bunch. Bhakti, we have Parth, we have Akshay, we have Amar, we have Harish, we have Pradeep, we have Sunanda, Jajati. Okay, good. So we have one.
You got 50 yeses for sure. They're still coming in.
I think over 100.
There are more than 100 yeses already in the chat and about 40 odd in question answers. So we're already touching 200 as we speak.
Well, that's beautiful.
Out of 1,500, what is everybody doing? Excuse me.
No, the technology only shows 99 and then says 99 plus. So, you know.
Okay, so we're breaking Zoom. I love it. Okay, perfect. So the single most important thing you need today to succeed in business is what? If I could hear you, you'd probably be saying pig-headed discipline and determination.
Oh, PhD,
right?
yes.
All right. So this is a picture of Ted and I over at Berkshire Hathaway, holding up all of the books. We've trained with 70 different training products selling in 100 countries. Like I said, 240,000. We've worked with over 60 of the Fortune 500. And that's what we're going to teach you today. As you know, my father, this is a handsome photo of him that I love to show off, where he doubled the sales of 9 different divisions for Charlie Munger. Most doubled within only 12 to 15 months. And really, what's crucial, which is why we're on this call, is mastery isn't about doing 4,000 things. This is the greatest news you'll have all day. Mastery is about doing 12 things 4,000 times, right? So you've read the book 3 times. My question to you, and what Ted and I will consistently ask you throughout this call is, okay, so how is that working for you? How is it implementing? Did you win that Dream 100 client? Did you get the attention of that person that you've just been trying to go after over email, over LinkedIn, over Twitter, over Instagram? What's working, what's not working? Let's role play it. Let's work it through right here today. Okay, let's really come up with some breakthroughs. So like Virendra had said, before I came into CHI, I was actually studying with my guru, Sarvaloka Ma, Her Holiness Sri 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 1008 Guruji Punamji. She's from the Baba Neem Karoli lineage. So I was teaching chanting in her ashram. When my father, the doctor said that he was passing, I came home and I inherited the business, which I never expected to step into, but because of my guru's guidance, I did. And lo and behold, here we are 8 years later, and I'm so grateful for all of the breakthroughs that we've been able to create, and especially having my partner here. Ted, you will do better to do your introduction, so I'll pass it off to you.
Oh, you're very kind. Well, I would share the screen, but I don't have the ability to do so. So I'll just state it. Oh, wait a minute. I think maybe I can. We'll see. No, I can't share a screen, but nonetheless, I've been really blessed. I know your nation's done a massive turnaround since the 90s. In my lifetime, I've seen such a massive impoverished nation come to just to be a global titan. I mean, a true force in this globe. And it's a real pleasure. And I don't pretend to have gone through the same plight, but I've had a little bit of that, born on the side of the town that's not the wealthiest in the world. And we wanted to make it big. So my family had a large construction company. So we were entrepreneurs, business owners. And they had great success and they had great failure. Now, you think I would look at their failures and learn from that, but you know how that is in your first endeavor. Do you think I had to do the school of hard knocks and figure it out on my own? Or do you think I learned from all their learning curves and I just went straight to success? Because you all know it was not straight to success. There's a lot of frustration and pain. And so for myself, the way I met my future partner and my friend and mentor, Chet Holmes, and we worked together for 10 years, and we touched 250,000 customers and a million lives through his books, is because I just hired him. I paid $40,000 for consulting services that I couldn't afford at that time, but I knew I really needed. And I hope today we can give you a glimpse of what I was able to get as a ridiculous, radical turnaround. Now, I'm telling you, where I came from, what happened. Yet, don't cry me a river. I've been blessed. I've personally worked with 25,000 of those 250,000 customers we've had. And they've all paid me to want to learn how to better grow their business. And they all want to make more sales. They all want to learn how to get clients from their competition. They all want to learn how to be more effective in these tools like COVID in this virtual environment. All these scenarios that you're dealing with and how to set up buying criteria in your favor. These are elements that we've addressed time and time again. So as I do so, I want to just acknowledge those that I've learned from. There are those that I'm going to try to share my screen one more time. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, hey, great. Here, I just want to do a little shout out. There's some of those that I've had a pleasure work with. Any of you guys familiar with Shark Tank? You guys have Shark Tank in India? This guy's he has had 24 companies go from 0 to 100 million. That many of you guys are going to be familiar with Robert Allen. He did a lot of 10 books, 2 were number one New York Times bestsellers. Tony Robbins to the left, we partnered with him. That gentleman's got $6 billion with a B in US dollars. I don't know what that is based on rupees. I mean, that's a lot. Really great guy. And the man to the right, you all know, you've read his book, The Ultimate Sales Machine, as well as the late Jay Levinson. Chet and I first partnered with him. He's an author of 40 plus books for Guerrilla Marketing Series. And Jay Abraham, a really great super strategist. So these are people I've able to pull from, and those that I've learned from the most was by far my family. It's a big driving force behind what I do, and many of you are here trying to learn how to improve your skills, and I basically only show you this picture to prove to you that I am the world's greatest salesman. Otherwise, that should have never happened. I don't know about you, but is there anyone else who married up big time? I mean, big time. I married up big time. So let's jump into the fast growth strategies. We have 3 brilliant fast growth strategies we're going to share with you today. There are now, again, the book's broken up into 12 core competencies, but today we're going to start with the one that came up the most through the Q&A session, how to become a strategist. So take it away, Amanda.
Yep. So how to create that sales message that gets 9 times more impact, that stadium pitch. Everyone keeps asking, Vijay asked, Jayesh asked. So we're going to cover that immediately. Make sure you get out your pens and paper because we want to write this down and take notes. The second would be the most powerful lesson that you can learn about doubling your sales over the next 12 months, that best buyer strategy, that dream 100, really how to get them, right? I've tried, I've done maybe 3 times, 4 times, I can't get them. We're going to give you some case studies that really show and give you some tactical ideas as well as strategic. And then we go into how to convert 7 times more business using that social media presence, which many of you being in lockdown is going to really assist you. So I'm going to give a bit more on that. And then Ted's going to take it away with the 4th. Okay, so as you know, we have a buyer's pyramid, right? And to really take this down, you can draw your buyer's pyramid. And I highly recommend that if you're ever teaching this strategy to your clients, you tell them to write that pyramid, draw that pyramid. It really gains the rapport and puts you in the position of power, right? So, okay, so everyone draw your pyramid, right? Now put a little line at that 3% because that's the buying now category. That's who all of your competition is going against, right? That 3%. Then we have another 7% that are open to it. Yeah, they're thinking about it. They might want to do something with you, but they haven't said, I definitely need that. The next 30% are not thinking about it. It's just not on their periphery. They're worried about the fact that they're in Corona, they're in COVID, and they're locked away. So you're not really on their mind. The next 30% have an opinion about you, right? They think they're not interested. And the last 30% are definitely not interested. So how much of that buyer's pyramid is not interested in you? You can write it in the questions box. How much of that pyramid is not interested in you? 90%, right? So how do you
97% of this audience is technically not even on the table currently. And there was a couple distinctions in there. The 3% are not those that are going to buy from you or your company. That's the percent that are actively looking for you and your competitors. That's you and all of your competitors fighting over that same 3%. So if you're a tactician and your dialogue is ineffective, you will only be fighting over that 3% with all your competitors. And when you go down there where it says things like they think they're not interested, earlier someone mentioned, how do I try to take clients from my competition? The competition is often educating them on a certain criteria, meaning they have a unique selling proposition and they got the ear of their clients. And they've been conditioning them to believe the reason they should work with them and not you, that's down there. What you think is way out of your buying circle is way down there at the think they're not interested. Well, if they knew what you knew, they might be spending money with you instead. You just might not have been skilled enough to throw a wide net. So let's address that right now.
Yeah.
So this is Jayesh had said, top mistake made by investors in wealth creation journey. We always chase 20% of the market, mover shakers. We have, we made money 20 times in 17 years. Have you made the same? So let's go through that. We have made money 20 times in 17 years. Have you made the same? So we get the point there. What we're trying to do is flex based on our outcome and our results. We're really effective with money management. So we're talking about that. So rule number 1 is if we want to throw a wider net and you're at the 3%, is that dialogue, we made money 20 times in 17 years. Have you made the same? Who's that really about? Is that about you making the money 20 times, or is it about asking them if they've done the same? Who's that really focused on, gang? What was the stating pitch that you wrote down? Do you mind just saying it out loud to us, please?
So basically, any client that I connect with, typically first I try to, talk about my credentials, my background, about my business, my company. And
okay, so how do you get their attention to even, the literally opening line? So how are you approaching your clients? Are you emailing them? Are you cold calling them on the phone? Are you knocking on their door and meeting them belly to belly? How do you approach them, and what's the first words that come out of your mouth?
So it's a mix of both. You try all the means, right? There is no one fit all. So you try emails, you try cold calls, you try references. So
Just
you
stop
try
on
different.
emails. Let's just say email then. That was the first thing you said. Great. What's the subject line on your email?
So when subject line I customize depending on prospect to prospect, whether it's a reference, whether it's a absolute cold call, or depending on the kind of profile of client I'm emailing. So it
Just
can
go ahead and
be.
give me one. Just give me any one subject line you've used recently.
So recently I connected with one prospect which came through one of my very large client, and I just said that reference from Mr. So-and-so would like to e-meet you. So
Would
when
like
you
to meet
put
you?
the, yeah, would like to e-connect with you.
Okay, we'd like to e-connect with you.
Yeah, because when you
So-
mention the reference name in the subject line, I think it definitely will get an interest of the concerned person because he knows the person.
All right. So with the greatest amount of respect, what I'd like to do is consider, first of all, if you say, hi, I'd like to e-connect with you. First and foremost, is that pretty transparent? I'm a salesman, and the reason I want to connect with you is so I can sell you stuff.
I believe so.
Yeah. So if we were going to be the quintessential example in the ultimate sales machine, tactically, hi, my name is, this is what I do, let me tell you how great I am, is a classic tactician's mistake. So if we try to lower the barrier of entry and just say, hey, would you like to connect with me? What that really is, hi, I'm just hoping you would entertain me to try to sell to you more. If we can reframe it, and I want to give you some rules, we're going to make this better right now. Rule number one, this is not about you. This is about them. It genuinely is. So when we brag, we've made money 20 times, who's the hero in the storyline? If we say we've made money 20 times in 17 years, have you? Who's the hero? Our brand or the prospect we're calling?
Prospect.
We're not making the prospect the hero because we just bragged how great we are. And when we say we're up here, that puts them down there. So we've acted significant, bigger, and better, which says you're less significant, and it breaks rapport. What Chet meant by making sure this is about them, not about you, is you lift them up. You make them significant. You empower them through your words because words generate cash. So the first step is to focus on them. The second thing, so just by focusing on them, you go from 3%, you throw a wider net to this 3 and 7%. You got 10% of the marketplace. Now, if you can offer something really valuable, maybe something audacious. Who else is unmuted, by the way? If you're unmuted, feel free to just say the words, hey, Ted. Don't worry about being inappropriate and interjecting. Just say the words, hey, Ted. If you're unmuted, what's an audacious claim you could make? Something that could be really profound that would make someone want to stop dead in their tracks. If you can look in the chat feature for me, Amanda, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Ted, Ravi Agarwal is muted.
Yes. Say it again, sir.
Ravi Agarwal has been unmuted. Ravi, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Hi, Ted, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
I'm outstanding. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, for example, if we wanted to say something that was really profound, one example was, let me discuss what's working for us. That's cliche and trite, meaning I want to tell you again a little bit about what's working for us so I can ultimately sell you our services. So what is it that could be really profound that could stop them in their tracks? and make them go, wow, I need that. I want that. I'm intrigued in that. That keeps me up at night. What is it you know is already aching in their heart that if you spoke to would grab their attention quickly? Are you, any of you guys familiar with that? Could you share any idea around that idea?
So in the last 3 years, markets has been very volatile in India, and most of the investors, I think so, have not made money in equities. So when I approach any prospect, I discuss about this, that over the last 3 years, markets has been volatile, and through our institutional approach, we have identified few key areas where investors had committed some mistake. We would like to discuss those ideas with you, where through these processes we have tried to reduce the accidents in the portfolio to enhance the returns, overall returns.
Love it. So did you guys all catch that? At the end of the day, he upstaged me. We're not only focusing on them, we're not only offering something of great value, we're offering to frame the whole thing in an education. These are 3 steps. Focus on them, offer something of profound value, something that they're really intrigued about. In this case, he's citing the volatile markets over the last 3 years, and then wrapping it in education. So one way to make that even more profound is to learn the 3 key distinctions we've uncovered from generations of facilitating financial services. We've evaluated how many clients do we have company-wide, gang? Does anyone know the magnitude? How many people
so in
we
private
actually
wealth, we have more than 4,500 clients in wealth.
We have over 4,500 clients?
In the private wealth space, and it will be much more for the other 2 businesses that are there on the call right now.
Okay, so in the smallest division, then it would be ethical to say, and from reviewing thousands of clients, we found, and we're willing to share with you, so you can learn these 3 key distinctions that have mitigated their risk in these volatile times. So so we throw the widest possible net by offering to educate with profound information that's focused on them, not about you. That's a part of these core, when we're talking about integrity as a core value in this company, that we're talking about ethical business practices. And when you offer to educate them, that is how we can approach with sales with the greatest amount of integrity. And really take our passion and our attitude, another one of our core philosophies, with that entrepreneurial spirit, and just do it by really giving them the best of what we have to offer. With these key little distinctions, we're going to start grabbing people's attention in a much greater way. In fact, I think, Amanda, don't you have a couple examples coming up here that we can jump into?
We dive into that? I think so. Let's do that. So you're probably wondering, well, what would that look like? And so let me go into this. So this was a client out of Dubai. They sold high-end real estate. Their average condo was roughly around 15 million US dollars. So I'm not quite sure what that is in crore, I'm sorry. But their ideal clientele were CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, if you can get that idea, right? So instead of reaching out to them and saying, we have beautiful condos, we'd love to discuss them with you so you can lounge on the beach with us, we changed their stadium pitch title to why wealthy CEOs are at risk for heart disease, diabetes, and premature death, and what you can do about it. Now, this was something that when we told these real estate brokers that they were going to start talking about diabetes
and premature, you were crazy, Amanda. They're like, why are we talking about heart disease? I sell real estate. Can't we just talk about real estate, Amanda? That's exactly what
No, and it was fascinating. When we did the research, we found that there was so many, the average Fortune 500 CEO spends roughly around 4 hours of sleep a night. And we have so many studies that back this up, that if you only have 4 hours of sleep a night instead of 8 hours, it leads to increased likelihood of a heart attack. It gives an increased potential likelihood of cancer by upwards of 20%. And we had all of this market data to back that up. And it really grabbed their attention because they knew that that was a huge issue for them, because they're all workaholics, obviously. So we talked to them about what was of interest to them, regardless of what we were selling. We met them where they were at. We talked about their children, right? Because so many of them are in the workplace, they're not thinking about their children. So we went into stats about what makes positive, successful children of wealthy individuals. We got inside of their heads, and it made a dramatic difference. We actually saw an increase in their sales of 3,000% over 8 months. That actually equaled 21.9 billion rupees. So this wasn't just, hey, let's come up with your stadium pitch, right? This was CHI going in, doing that consultative work, figuring out, okay, what's every script? What is your email? How is it written? What are your 5 voicemail scripts? What is your direct mail piece for your Dream 100, the 10th and 11th letter, right? We worked with them and we trained them, and so it took some time, but in 8 months to get 21 billion rupees, it was a massive success. That is the power of educating. Go ahead, Ted.
I think you've nailed this. There's a couple questions that are going, what's the difference between an elevator pitch? An elevator pitch is a desperate sales pitch on the ride up to the elevator that if you don't sell them in that moment, you're going to lose them. A stadium pitch says, I'm going to be a strategist, and I recognize if I commit to offering education, that allows my prospect to enroll in our relationship, enroll into this education. Otherwise, they look at you like a salesman. And looking at you like a salesperson eliminates your power. Meritocracy, if you look at the etymology, one of your core values that you have, the etymology of that means power and strength. And power and strength comes by being positioned as an expert, not inferior posturing. So you don't have to say how great you are. You could just take the time to commit to serving your client from your heart, giving them the best insights this company has uncovered. And by teaching them, they make you the expert. You never have to say, I'm the expert. Vishal was talking about that. Well, I know I can't teach you about finance and business, because you've ran such a great company. That's self-deprecative. You could reframe that is, gosh golly, I don't know. All I know is from 40 some odd years in business, what we've uncovered are the 3 most profound distinctions that have helped people mitigate this risk in these uncertain times. Let me at least share you what these 3 things are, regardless to whom you choose to use for insert the product and service you offer. That is a changing everything, because like you said, a head turning title. If you can have a title thought through that stops people in their tracks, you cut through the clutter. Using market data. I was really expecting a lot of market data. Did you catch anyone use some market data? There's some pretty good stadium pitches here. Did anyone cite a great market data in their stadium pitch? Did you catch any of that?
I didn't see any, but if you add them into the chat now, I'll read them off.
Yeah, the market data. So here's the distinction. Hi, let me tell you what I know. The second you talk about how smart you are, people are inevitably going to want to freeze, fight, flight from that, meaning they're looking at you like a salesman just trying to convince them of something. So they naturally resist that. So that's a center part of the brain, the reptilian part of the brain. And so if you move to the neofrontal cortex, high-level thinking, when you cite market data going, according to research says, and cite an established, respected, trusted source of data, they make you the expert because you're the one that cited the data. That's how you're tapping into that power and strength that we alluded to earlier. Mm-hmm. So, what's interesting here is content. By the way, this is a little pop quiz. Which one's more motivational? She has solutions or problems. Which one's is more motivational? Problems or solutions, gang? Which one's way more motivational? For those who are muted, just say it out loud. Problems or solutions? Look down at the notes. So you're seeing solution. There are 2 people that said problems, and I just want to share something with you. If it bleeds, it leads. If you've turned on the news, oh my gosh, the economic climate here in India is going to hell in a handbasket. It's all drama, right? If you go to the social media, it's all drama, because that's what's 6 times more motivational than the solution. So because we're all heart-centered human beings, we want to first lead with the solution, but that is not as powerful as it can be. That genuinely has been tough on them, and they may be stuck with your competitor and not getting the outcomes you could get them. So serve them better, be willing to stand with certainty, with strength. Use your core story, the teamwork and your integrity to offer them that education. That's going to frame you as that expert and cuts through the clutter. Your ability to get the remaining 97% of the market share of your product, service, interest to becoming a customer. What's that last bullet point? Articulate that one.
Well,
What?
Yeah, we want to get that those people that are not necessarily interested in what you have to say, right?
Yeah.
And this is where you really step ahead of your competitors, because all that competition is going after that 3%. I remember somebody had asked, how do we get beyond our competitors? You reach out to the people that aren't even thinking about your product, that maybe even have an opinion about it. So I loved someone had said, like, the 5 reasons, the 5 biggest failures stopping you from being a billionaire.
Yes.
How interesting is that? You know, for those that want to have that kind of wealth, that is a perfect stadium pitch.
I really love, I love, because once again, for the second time, you've moved this conversation away from the thing on the nose, which is, we want to insert your product and service. So if it's manage your money, it's like, we can help you make more money with your money. I mean, what have you done lately? Like, it's so on the nose. That's how salesmanship. And Vishal's been asking, how have you turned that around? And that example you just gave and what you just spoke of is so powerful. I just want to give one more moment. To get to your prospects and get in the buying cycle before they're ready to buy now. If you want to get your clients from your competitors, find creative, interesting, educational approaches that can cut through the clutter so you become the market's sociological choice. You could start seeding in data points that put in doubt in their mind that they should at least be willing, regardless to who they're using, at least learn from you these key distinctions. And just getting that time with them, that's how you're going to be able to cut through the clutter and really turn things around, Vishal, is by using that approach. Instead of just trying to sell your service, that's 3%. Offer that education regardless if they're buying from you or not, and they enter in your sales cycle.
An associate was handling a client, and then they went to a competitor. How do you then keep that client when they're trying to take their clients with them to the other competitor? It's all around education. It's all around education. If you've educated them properly, they will come and stay with you forever, right? That raving fandom comes from the value that you give them. Do you want to add to that?
What you just said is on the nose. So when you educate them, I want to be clear. Educate them around your unique selling propositions. How are you different than your competitors? And when you educate around their I'll give you an example. Here in the United States, the most enjoyed food in this country is pizza. It's the universal thing you do at a party. I don't know what your favorite food is. Here I have a hallucination. I think it's, a curry or something, but
Ras malai.
It could be. All I know is here it's pizza. And what would happen is we would just go and drive to get the pizza so we can go back and watch the cricket game. Now, what would happen is someone would have to get in the car and drive. And this other company came along and said, hey, I want to take clients from my competitors. And they set a new buying criteria. And their new buying criteria was, we will deliver this pizza within 30 minutes or less, guaranteed, or it's free. And by just offering a new buying criteria, which is delivering the pizza, they took all the market share and their product was horrible. And we gladly ate it. We ate a product that was inferior just because they set a new buying criteria. I'm curious how effective you're building education around your unique selling propositions so you're setting a buying criteria in your favor. Okay, wonderful.
Hey, Dad. Hi.
Hello, how are you? Could you share what you do as an effort to stay in the space and the face and the place of your dream clients? Could you just tell us what you're literally doing?
So one, it starts with email. So send them email, warm them up, then a couple of emails follow up and the WhatsApp message, and then end it with the phone call.
Okay, so you have email, WhatsApp, and phone call,
That's right.
right? Okay, so by the way, how many emails and what's the frequency of these, please?
I've been sending them a mail once in a month, form them for 2 or 3 emails, and then send them a WhatsApp message.
And the WhatsApp message is how frequently? Once a month as well?
Yeah, a little more frequency, once in a fortnight maybe.
Okay, and then the phone calls, how frequently?
Then after doing this for 3 months, then a phone call. And if you get a positive meetings or a conversation, fine, because many times otherwise you don't get response on the phone call. Then you continue with your email once a month.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So that was one phone call a month as well, or weekly?
No, that's monthly. That's not weekly, because I think that would be too much.
Once a month. All right. So in a Dream 100, so check this out. Here's what will happen. So in his case, by the way, if you really want to cut through the clutter, I don't know how you're going to cut through the clutter just dripping in once a month. It's one great way to stay irrelevant. And I'm going to allude to Amanda. I'm going to ask you to tell that one story about the client who just bought several hundred of the Ultimate Sales Machine books. For their followings, they'll allude to the power of this PhD, pig-headed discipline and determination. But I just want to map this out. If all we did was one email, one WhatsApp, and one phone call a month, that's still in 4 months. That's still 12 touch points. So again, should you even expect to win over that client with that kind of tenacity in 4 months? Probably not. But there's hope to be found here, because what happened in this environment was in the 5th month, he landed one deal. It was his first deal, but it took him 5 months to make that happen. Then he was able to go and get some of the largest deals in his history. Literally, the magazine called Success Magazine had Chet on the front cover while he was kicking a roundhouse kick. Amanda's father used to study karate for, 23 years?
Yeah, long time.
Long time. He literally is doing a roundhouse kick, like his foot way up in the air. I can't get it that high. Way up. I'm talking about 6 feet in the air. And that's what they had on the front cover of the magazine, because he'd sold the largest single advertising campaign in history to Xerox. So my point being, the tenacity. You may not have thought through the emails 5 months in advance. Chances are tacticians, they don't think of the next email or the next WhatsApp or the next phone call until it's time to just go do the effort. And they're winging it from step to step. I want to be clear, what's not identified on these slides is Chet landed all those clients at 6 months, and by the end of the year had 29 of them sign up underneath his firm that was previously completely unknown of, but now he's got some of the biggest and best buyers. Of the 167, he got 29 of them in a year. Why? Because he thought through what he was going to physically mail twice a month. He thought through what was going to be said on voicemail number 1. When they got when they call, if they called and said, or they answered and they said thanks but no thanks, what did you say when you got rejected? What did you say when you've called them 3 times? Thinking through this as a strategist is going to differentiate you, who hope someday you get the big clients, and those that get the big clients every single day. They've thought through these efforts in advance. Case study time, definitely.
So the next number 3, what we're going to talk about is how to get 7 times more efficiency from every move you make. And that really gets into social media. We are addicted to media. This is a US stat that on average we're spending 10 hours and 30 minutes a day on media. I will tell you right now that I know in Asia, one of these that's spending more time is actually also on WhatsApp. We don't really use it in the US, but it's very popular in your area of the world, right? So 10 hours a day sitting on this phone doing things. So are you there? Are you on that phone? That's how they're interacting. That's how they're using their whole world is centered around that. Social media has become word of mouth on steroids. Taking the automotive industry, for example, 68% of those looking to buy found their car via social media. 95% say they'd be likely to talk on social media about the features that they like. I'm closing 6-figure, 8-figure, 10-figure business deals over Facebook Messenger and Twitter. Mind blowing. 10 years ago, you never would have thought that you would have to think that you would meet in person, you'd have a face-to-face conversation. That is not the reality today. The reality is that people trust people, just like Ted said. And it turns out that when, let's say that Motilal posted on Twitter, if you as Virendra retweeted that tweet, you're actually 7 times more likely to convert business if you're posting it yourself, you as an individual. You will get 8 times more engagement. You'll have 24 times more likely to be shared. It's very interesting. And this follows up with, this was one of my Dream 100 clients. I don't know if you're familiar with ClickFunnels. It's a bit out of your industry, but ClickFunnels has been a huge success. They've grown overnight, being rated the #1 company in the United States by Entrepreneur. And I happened to eat dinner and I sat next to the president and I thought, oh, this is perfect. He's my Dream 100. I'll get this going. He'll become my client. I will tell you, the entire dinner, he acted like there was a stone wall in between us and I just could not break down that wall. And that's hard for me because I'm a very personable person. So for him to be that standoffish, I just felt within me that I had to get him as a client, whatever it took.
And everyone else listening feels exactly how you feel. Every high net worth individual isn't even giving you the time of day, if that's who you're targeting.
Exactly.
They know you wanted to sell. In fact, you went in, admittedly, hey, nice to meet you. Didn't you pitch for a sales call?
Yeah. I asked him for an appointment. He said no. So my backup was, let's friend each other on Instagram. So I took a picture, and this is key. Whenever you meet a prospect, I'll have to say that for another training. But anyways, so we took a selfie and I posted it on my Instagram and said, the hardest dollar to get is that first dollar. So I'm foreshadowing that we will work together. Something clever, entertaining, getting his involvement. And then for the next 3 months, every single post he made, I commented on it. It was the littlest of things,
so when you say every post, does that mean you only did one thing for a month and you didn't revisit it next month? I don't want to beat a dead horse, yet I want to point out the major difference between a WhatsApp once a month, an email once a month, a phone call once a month. What's the frequency of I commented on every post? Was he commenting or was he only posting once a month? What's the honest frequency?
Right. I mean, he was posting multiple times a day, and every single day I found one thing to comment on. And it wasn't like oh, how funny. It was something that gave value. So he posted about buying boots because he was about to take a hike. And I replied, make sure that you wear in those boots before you do the hike, because I climbed Kilimanjaro in fresh boots and it wrecked me. Just something that's valuable.
Beautiful,
right?
Thoughtful, creative. This is passion and attitude on the core value chart. This is why people do business with you and why they stay with you when times get tough, is these core values that you have, integrity and passion and attitude. I love that. I'm excited to share another distinction, something that I've really mastered on the front lines working with Chet, is the art of becoming the ultimate salesman and truly being the best you can be. And it's been beautiful blessing. So if you stick around with me just for a few more moments, I'm going to share how you can recruit some top producing sales stars, but I'm going to give you a gift at the end, how you can make sure you are being the best you can be by giving you 10 characteristic traits of an overachiever and a top producing sales star. So can you guys see the right person for the right reason?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what we're talking about is I've cited some data. Again, this is in the US dollar. That's where I'm going to be speaking of it. But you guys get the hint. This organization, Harvard Business School, business says, hey, it's costing you $60,000 on average to hire the wrong candidate to work to build your team. If you're the wrong candidate on the team, it's costing them $60,000. Other recruiting firms say, take whatever you make in a year, multiply it by 2. That departee that you're letting go, multiply it by 2. That's how much it costs you. If you guys are a big fan of reading Top Grading, he said it was 15 times the annual salary. But what about the business that's being lost? What was that, ma'am?
That is $4.4 million $60,000 is 4.4 million Indian rupee.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. So let me lay out the distinctions to top producing sales stars and how you can uncover this quickly, like fast. I mean, in 2 to 10 minutes before you hire them and spend your time trying to build a team around someone who's not going to be able to hack it. The first thing I want to allude to, the greatest personal characteristic trait that's going to cut the clutter. This is not found in the Ultimate Sales Machine. You've never heard this. New insights, updates from something that's been written 20 years ago. First is compassion. Compassion. Now, in your core values, you talk about integrity, and using a virtue like compassion, I think, is the most divine one to allude with for this one reason. When you are compassionate, your absence of judging someone. And whenever you judge someone, you've lost your ability to influence them. So operating from compassion not only fits one of your core values to be operating appropriately and ethically in your business practices, it allows you to bond with prospective clients and your existing clients in ways you never thought you could bond before from operating from compassion. Now, if you got a very compassionate soul, but they can't close the door to a room, let alone close a sale, you've got a problem. So you need to balance the first C of compassion with the second C. And the second C right here is confidence. Because in any negotiation, there are two people involved in every negotiation. The one with the most confidence is going to win that negotiation. Be the one with the greatest amount of confidence in the room that is anchored in your compassion. These two C's will allow you to rise above the rest. And if you're recruiting sales stars, you can figure out if they have these two C's really quickly. We train on this that you can put inside your advertisements. Don't even bother calling unless you can prove yourself to be an overachiever and a top producer. The reason you would reject a prospective hire candidate, someone you want on your team, is to see, do they have the confidence to handle the rejection? Because gang, honestly, in the chat feature, just telling me straight up, isn't rejection the number one thing you're facing on a daily basis in an effort to grow your sales? Is that an accurate statement? Yes or no? Is rejection one of the first things that you face on a daily basis?
Siddharthi said yes.
Yes.
Baby
So
yes. Rajiv, Sunil,
if we,
Harish, Gokuk, Anuja, Radhika.
there's a lot of yeses. So when you're, it's like you want to embrace this. Be the positive light in someone's day. You want to say, where's my cup of coffee? Where's my list of names? It's time to go make a new friend. Amanda and I love that it's going on 2 a.m. for her, and we're here to serve because we love it. Put the smile on your face, joy in your heart, but you want to find those that have that balance. So how would you do that? Literally in the ad, if it said, don't even bother calling unless you can prove yourself to be an overachiever and a top producer, you're going to hopefully get rid of those that would fold like a chair to begin with. They're like, well, I guess, golly, I guess it's not for me. I mean, okay, so let them go away. But what you are looking for are those that want to rise to the occasion. Did you hear it? When Amanda got rejected from that one high net worth individual, an executive in a corporation, she's trying to get to do business with that business, and they were growing like crazy. Well, she got rejected. What'd she do? She became more effective in the face of adversity. That's anchored in that confidence. You want to find out, will they sink like a ship fast, or will they rise to the occasion? So you can put that in your ad and say, hey, listen, I'll pretend the person calling me is Bob. Yeah, hi, Bob. I'll just go through the whole script right now. It'll go something like this. Let me stop my projector just so you can see my face here. Let's see if I can just stop the share.
And I love Avon's message. He said, rejection leads to improvement. Rejection does
lead to improvement if you're willing to embrace it and you're not willing to look at it as a failure. You've never failed unless you're unwilling to learn from that rejection. So on topic, this is how it'll go. Yeah, boop, 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 boop. Yeah, hi, this is Ted Miller. Oh, hi, yeah, I'm calling about that ad. Well, that ad said, don't even bother calling unless you can prove yourself to be an overachiever and a top producer. So you got 2 minutes to talk yourself into an interview. You ready? Oh, wow, okay, well, I guess we're going to do that now. Okay, go. Well, hi, so my name's Bob, and, well, I like people, that's why I like sales. I mean, I think I'm good at it. I mean, my mom says I'm good at it. Right, Amanda? Like, in some way, shape, or form, you're going to hear what you hear. It may be great. It may not be so great. You're going to allow that for them to share the best of who they are. You've given them their chance to have their stadium pitch. Here's what I'm doing. I'm inviting you to test your prospective candidates to see, can they sell or not? Because the one thing they know more about than anything else in the world is themselves. And if they can't sell you on themselves, they'll never sell your prospective clients. They have to cold call or fight through the clutter or fight the rejection over to sell on your product and service. So you're going to go ahead and just put them through a series of rejection to see how they handle it. And so you're going to stop them at about 2 minutes in, maybe 3. And you're going to say, hey, Bob, I've been trained by one of the finer recruiters to tell you what I like most about you. And be congruent, be honest, be with integrity. Tell them what you liked. So in this hypothetical, let's just pretend Bob was a really nice guy and he was really gregarious. You would just say, Bob, you're a really nice guy. I mean, you're so gregarious. I mean, I just like you. That's going to serve you in sales. So kudos for you. Then you let the shoe drop. Then you go, but we're not, you see. I mean, if we were going to hire two people, I'd put your name in the hat every day of the week. But we're not. You see, we're only going to hire one. We're only going to hire an overachiever and a top producer. And I got to tell you, Bob, I'm just not hearing it. That's it. I'm just not hearing it. In the comments, if you hear the words, I'm just not hearing it, what's your gut reaction of what you want to say in return? If you're willing and daring enough, go ahead and put it in the comments. When you hear someone say to you, I'm just not hearing it, what's your immediate thoughts? You go ahead and type it in the chat if you'd like to.
Or if anybody on that's unmuted, like Jayesh or Virendra or Agnel or Ashish or Vinay, if any of you, what's your initial response when you hear that?
There's thank you. Are you deaf? So the most audacious response was really close to that. It was Jerry Slaughter. Chet just taught me this process. It was about 2002. Jerry Slaughter, I'm going through the script. Chet's written this out for me and I'm reading it. I'm just not hearing it. So because I'm new, right? I'm trying this for the first time. So I'm just reading my script. And Jerry Slaughter goes, what's the problem, bud? Do you need a hearing aid? I was like, what? He goes, I've just spent the last 5 minutes sharing with you how I've been an overachiever and a top producer everywhere I've been. And listen, you say you're not hearing it. That's interesting. I've never heard that, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this part, Ted. What part of overachiever and a top producer are you not hearing? That guy was my top producer for 12 months. That was now that's pretty obnoxious response on the confident side. Yet that was a reflection of that person's confidence. If they fold and you say, I'm just not hearing it, they go, okay. And you say, okay, just repeat what they say. If they say, all right, you say, all right, thank you, goodbye, goodbye. And they've just walked off the phone. That's how quickly they would take that original rejection from a Dream 100 client and just go away. Your willingness to have PhD, it takes discipline to stay congruent with your integrity. It takes discipline to follow through with passion and attitude. If you think passion and attitude means you hope and pray that you're going to feel good someday, and if I feel good, I'll pick up the phone, I will tell you, you get to choose discipline. And the emotion called motivation won't always be there for you. Some days you just have to do it. And in fact, I think that your founder has made that very clear in passion and attitude. Do it, exclamation point. That's the entrepreneurial spirit. And this is the crux of what's going to happen when you're looking for these overachievers and top producers. You're allowing to cut through the clutter to find out who is naturally ingrained with a high degree of confidence, high degree of compassion, and it's going to allow you to cut through the clutter. So,
I mean, when you get rejections, how many times does one keep managing these rejections? Is there a good number which is a template?
Yeah, I actually have that data. It's a great question. I'm going to answer it two ways. The first response is you quit way too early. So now that I've just said that, let me give you the data. In our book, we talk about 8 to 12 touch points. So 8 to 12 touch points just to get it, that meeting with a buyer are high quality, high touch points. So a flippant WhatsApp might not, or a social media post might not constitute as a high touch quality engagement unless you can find a way to make it personable, unless it's a way that resonates in an intimate way, unless it's relevant to their situation. Sometimes that's just flippant. So Google has done the data on that, and they found you need 24 to 36 touch points total, like just cheeky little, like maybe you run an ad in front of them, maybe you send a flippant message like an automated email. That's not a high quality touch point. A conversation would qualify as one of the 8 to 12. The use of these tools like Zoom, I found to be some of the most effective ways to get people into your world if you promise to teach them, not just trying to sell to them. Hi, yeah, why don't you just tell me about what's going on in your business? And yeah, maybe we might be able to help you with our particular product and offering services. That's a sales pitch. You're not going to be able to get them on a Zoom if you're just desperately trying to sell your wares. But if you have a prepared education where you get to share the 5 biggest mistakes that's been made in these certain times, these last 3 years, we're going to share the 5 most common mistakes. And I'll tell you, you may know 2 or 3 of these, but not knowing any one of these could radically, I mean, profoundly impact your financial security. Offering that education, they'll come into your world. You try to sell your services, they're not getting on your Zooms. Leverage Zooms or tools like it, Teams, whatever technologies to find intimate touch points.
But Amanda and Ted, I think the last 2 hours were some of the best 2 hours I would have also personally spent ever in terms of learning, in terms of, getting fully engrossed, in terms of, when I look at myself on the scale of 1:10, one really thinks hard that there's so much more to learn, there's so much more to improve. And as far as sales techniques are concerned, while the book is really given great insights and it's a reference point, but the 2 hours which both of you spent today really compels us now to keep going back at it again and again, so that, you keep improving all the time. Thanks so much. I think the, question answer sessions could have gone as much as you like, because everybody wants to know more and more about sales. And, it's a never ending journey. All of us are students for life as far as sales is concerned. And it's not about business, it's about families, it's about social situations, it's about friends. Every time you're selling a concept or a proposition to some or the other person in their life, and these last 2 hours and the words of wisdom are not only going to help us in business, but in our own personal lives as well. So from behalf of the Motilal Oswal group, we have my colleagues actually across businesses of broking, asset management company, and private wealth management. Everyone, the 2,000 odd people who logged in today have got immensely benefited. More importantly, I think it has just inspired us now to keep doing this, self-reflection and keep improving. So thank you so much for this.